I am here in Chicago, Illinois, and we're talking to Artur Bienkowski in Poland right now. Hi, Artur.
Hey, Mia.
Today is July 17th, 2020, and the world is still on fire. We are still very much dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, health pandemic, and the fight for racial justice, especially here in America. And so we're tuning in live here on Facebook and on YouTube, and this is also going to be a podcast. So thanks for checking this out in every way that you can. So Artur and I met at Nature Yoga Studio in Chicago and at a yoga nidra training. So Artur was a student of mine. He took my yoga nidra teacher training. And then he was just so lovely and so walked in very accomplished and just open, so full of heart. And he's just so open that I asked him to assist me in a following teacher training, yoga nidra teacher training. And he just did a fantastic job. So it is so nice to have you on this interview, Artur. Thank you.
Hello, Mia, and thank you again for inviting me to that conversation, to that interview. I must say that it also means a lot to me, as I'm extreme introvert. I love to spend a lot of time watching interviews with others, so I'm sure it's going to only enrich others in some way.
Oh, that's awesome. And thank you for taking it. So more about Artur. He's very interesting. In Poland now, but goes back and forth between Chicago and Poland. Is actually supposed to be in Chicago right now, but COVID-19. And he's a choreographer, really interesting background. He's into healing therapeutic methods. He is gay. He has, like I said, so much heart and so grounded. And is there anything else you'd like people to know about you?
As I said, I'm probably more good at asking questions than giving answers. Maybe during the flow of a conversation, it's going to be revealed what's more about me. I'm not the best fan of talking about myself. Mostly, I'm interested in healing modalities, yoga, and arts. And I'm trying to not distinguish between those disciplines because for me, I try to fluctuate and swing between all of them. And I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, we'll get back to that. So let's check in with what your outside world is right now, and then let us know what your internal response is at from your heart and deep mind.
I'm in Poznań, Poland, in middle-sized city. In my subjective opinion, that's the best spot in Poland. I really love to be here due to a lot of greenery in that city and friendly people. And what's my outside world here? I'm sure we all encounter a lot of confusion, a lot of misinformation. And I'm trying to figure out how to stay safe, how to be on good track, and to having good course of the life while having pandemic.
Yeah. What kind of misinformation are you talking about that's out there?
I think generally it's very healthy to ask yourself a question if it goes to media, mainstream media, tweets. Is those information, is those tweets, is this helping me or harming me? Because I think it's we can go easily into reactivity, distraction to each information, and it's very good to sometimes take a break. Maybe I'm not the best source of informing others what's happening around, because I decided to take a quite long break from feeding myself from media.
Yeah, that's smart. Taking a we have to breathe what's around us sometimes, and with all the stimuli of news and right. Yeah, I hear you. So I'm wondering what, besides kind of checking your intake of media, being a deep thinker and an artist, like what kind of responses, what other responses are you having?
I'm sure that anyway, that situation with pandemic, with COVID, actually prompt us to meet ourselves, and that can be scary maybe. because anyway we need to slow down. Most of us are staying at our flats. We get distracted through media, social media, and so on and so on. And I think it's very good to smartly navigate yourself, your needs, and to really meet yourself. Of course, maybe it can be easy for me when I know a bunch of practices that I'm doing every day, and but it can be anything for others. It can be gardening or doing other stuff. I highly recommend to really take a break from media, because I feel it's kind of game of awareness for us, game of perception, following constantly, engaging emotionally to every tweet, every post. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to not get engaged. Like I call it taking the bait. It's hard for me not to take the bait. Here goes the phone. Here goes the apps. There goes my soul right into the little
Absolutely. Absolutely.
computer. Oh my gosh, I know, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I have heard that some researchers even gave a name like COVID-19 brain, that we are constantly puzzled, we are constantly distracted, we are like on edge with emotions. I think like what's another layer nowadays in Poland, and it's gonna be in US too, it's the presidential election, and I think the combination of those two layers in Poland starts to be very dangerous, in my opinion. I mean, information-wise, because there is a lot of confusion, in my opinion, in media, what people share, what people think and talk about, and everyone is trying to be more clever than the other.
yeah, I hear you on that.
Yeah.
And speaking about information, we were talking before we went live about the struggles for racial justice. And I asked your observations being from Europe and Poland and then coming to Chicago, which is a really segregated city. Would you mind reflecting on that again for us?
Yeah, I remember to me it was very shocking years ago when I started to come regularly to US, that I couldn't believe that racism can exist in US, because for me it was so odd to understand that in country that is built on immigrants, foreigners, that is like the whole diversity of a people, someone can think that way. And then gradually I start to meet people, I start to talk with people of color, I engage in some friendships with people, and then it revealed that there is, like, let's say, hidden dynamic of that. Yeah, it was quite shocking, because I'm sure even like Poland is not so diverse country. I think people probably are more curious about differences of people than trying to label them immediately.
Yeah, I think that is there a Black population in the city you're in now?
There is black community, but it's really small, I would say. Mostly consists of students of medicine, technology, and very young people, or
Yeah,
specialized workers. Yeah,
I'm sorry, say that last part again.
or and specialized like IT workers, engineers.
Got that. Yeah, I think the struggle for racial justice is just a reflection of everything else going on with the world. It's like pressure. The pressure that, you can say the universe is putting on us, that we've created for ourselves as human beings. That pressure is very real for us. Would you mind sharing how you are handling all the outside pressures?
I think personally I'm very lucky about it, because I have encountered in my life many teachers, some teacher trainings about yoga nidra, meditation, and I could continue. So I already have many tools within myself that I can work in any place, any time, and I think it's very I think it's very profound. It works well for me. So I'm having my everyday practices. Doesn't matter if it's COVID, pandemic, or normal everyday life. And I'm sure it's like everyone. It's so powerful that everyone should to try. Maybe
Yeah. So now that you're getting more into yoga nidra and teaching it, and your healing modality.
Yeah, like yoga nidra became my everyday practice years ago, and I'm absolutely diving deeper and deeper, discovering new teachers. And I think what's amazing about it, you can really do it at home anytime. Yeah, yeah. I'm really amazed
Yeah.
about also about how it's how the community of yoga nidra is growing really fast actually right now. Yeah.
The community is definitely growing. Well, our stress systems are really intense right now, and I think having these kind of tools, like you said, that you can practice at home are so valuable. Which is why it's nice that there's people, wise people like you who are able to practice and then share it. So I was wondering if you could give advice to people that are feeling really stressed out. Like, how would you advise a beginner on how to feel more like look at themselves, like you said? I know it's scary, but how would you ask them
I,
to start?
yeah, I think like everyone should to try practices, like, and then whether or not decided to continue or not. It's like well, nowadays it's really easy to try. You can find on even on YouTube or like thousands of websites when you can try for free different practices. But I think what's the most important uh, to try to take a broader perspective on what is happening, and to try to understand and feel that even if I feel stressed, uncomfortable within myself, that's not everything. It's not that if I feel fear, the fear is whole me, that the only one emotion can define me. So you understand that emotion comes, and if you let it be, it will go and it will disappear. Yeah, I'm sure. Like I'm always fan of self-inquiry practices, meditative practices. But I'm absolutely sure that it can be anything what is grounding you. For others, it can be biking, gardening, or cooking for others. So I'm sure, yeah, everyone can find something.
Yeah. You mentioned having studying with different teachers. So how important is is having a teacher or lineage to you, as far as like, just I'm wondering what advice you give about guidance, because sometimes I think if people are sequestering alone and the internet is so big, there's so many rabbit holes to run down in the internet when it comes to self-inquiry. Like,
Yeah, I think it's easy to get lost in internet. I think it's very important to be with good teacher with certain lineage, but I'm sure that that insight came later. It came really later to me when I understood how the importance of that, the importance of having a good teacher. Because at the years ago, at the beginning, it was completely random to me. Now it's slowly, step by step, it starts to be more clear, and uh, I'm very happy. I have my good, amazing Iyengar teacher in Poznań. That's another thing that I'm doing for years, and I'm really up to it. Yeah, I think it's like I think it's actually the most important to find a good teacher, to feel this resonance, and yeah.
yeah, I agree. I think we need guidance, and there's people who have walked paths longer and deeper than we have in life, who are willing to share what they've learned with us. And I think I agree, it's really important to find a good teacher.
Yeah.
And as you, having been my yoga nidra student, it's also really wonderful to have students that are open and open to understanding what's being taught. So it's kind of this big cycle that we're in, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So go
I
ahead.
think that's to say something more about teachers. I have a feeling that that there is the opposite of things, that at the beginning of having a teacher training, of doing yoga, you want to really fast start to teach and to give the knowledge, but then the deeper you go with your knowledge, the craving for teaching is getting less. I feel on myself like that.
You
That's,
mean
yeah.
you mean you're craving to be a teacher?
Yeah, I think so. That's why I mentioned the importance of the right teacher. Yeah.
So you're saying that the deeper you go into your practices, you're understanding the importance of having a good teacher,
Yeah.
because you're starting, you have a less of a desire to teach yourself.
Yeah, and then you have to just the reflection about yourself and even why you want to teach starts to be different.
That I resonate with. Yeah, I think it's this interesting thing. I think part of it is like following our dharma, as we say sometimes, or following our calling. You know, Joseph Campbell called it find your bliss, basically what we're meant to do. So I think that has to do with self-knowledge, right? When you do the practices we're talking about and you understand more of who you are, the message of what you're supposed to do in life becomes more clear, right? And sometimes people teach and then they don't teach, or people don't teach and then they get later on in life and they're like, oh, I'm supposed to be a teacher. It's nice to be open to the journey, and like you said, you have good guidance, right?
Yeah, it makes profound difference. It makes profound difference. Yeah.
For sure. So I would love to hear more of your like perspective as a dancer and choreographer. So as someone who's in the body and expresses himself creatively through that, and also arranges other people to kind of express themselves through dance, like how has what's going on in the world affected your art that way?
Mm. Nowadays, I'm taking my time to realize actually what I want to do next in art. And 3 years ago, I decided to have a break from working with companies. But it was my clear decision of deciding to be, let's say, the fullest version of myself. And I decided that I need to work on my own to live, let's say, in my own reality, artistic reality, not in reality or dreams of someone of other person. So I'm absolutely taking free time and waiting for the proposals, waiting for the options to receive grants, to do another work, and then to be not overwhelmed by amount of work, just being purely present with new ideas, with new people, dancers. Yeah. So I'm just collecting inspirations and waiting for the right moment in some months or maybe some years. Yeah.
Gosh, that is so
Yeah.
refreshing to hear. Go ahead.
I think like because what I would like to say is that this the moment I get some self-inquiry in dance, which was always for me on the border of, let's say, movement and spiritual practice, uh, I decided to really do only things that I really like and believe personally. Yeah, and I think if to dive deeper in contemporary dance world, you could find so many interesting people interested about also healing modalities, different ways of researching, like journaling, doing meditation. I once in the project I incorporated yoga nidra as a part of the project while researching the subject of silence in dance. Yeah.
Wow, you're so
For me,
cool.
for me, while I understood the dance to me is philosophy of the body, and it can be complex, and that at one point I understood that I don't need to distinguish that I'm doing dance, now I'm doing therapy, and now I'm teaching. I think it to me it became one modality actually that I'm doing. Because I think like while researching and having process for a show can be also a healing process, self-inquiry process, can be teaching and can benefit others who participate in the project on different layers, different, yeah. I think it's just matter of having a different perspective on the subject. Yeah.
Thank you for being so grounded in your art. I feel like a lot of artists responded the opposite way to what's happening now. I did in the beginning, that I have to create more because we're being asked to stay in place. You know, it made me nervous as an artist. Like, I have to start doing more things. So I really appreciate hearing you saying that you're like, no, I'm gonna sit back here and I'm gonna reflect and I'm going to wait until the right inspiration or the right project comes up. So again, that just talks to how cool you are. Is there anything else you'd like to add, my friend?
I'm happy because of that meeting, because of that interview, and I hope to meet you really soon in Chicago, where I'm supposed to take IRIS teacher training with Richard Miller. Of course, everything is postponed, but I'm okay with that. I will wait for the right moment. Yeah.
That's right. We'll wait. And when you come to when you can come to Chicago, then you look me up and we'll go have some coffee and keep talking.
Absolutely.
We'll have some chai. That sounds great. So thanks for so much, Artur. And I hope I'm saying your name okay. I'm trying to honor your name properly. Artur Bienkowski. I can just say it all day. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'm so glad you got to listen to Artur and what a cool person he is. And I hope that you gained some insight to life and maybe saw a little bit of yourself in our conversation. So thanks for tuning in. And I now have a Patreon page. So if you're interested in supporting me and this series, you can go to patreon.com/MiaPark. And also, quick shout out to Joanna Maurer, who gave you you got some hearts from Joanna. So, and this to you too. Thanks for listening and watching, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.